Leeds Travels and Lifestyle presents 50 states in United States ranking from worst to best. Are you wondering about the best states to live in the United States? Well, we've got you covered. This video breaks down the 50 states, evaluating them across different factors grouped into 8 essential categories, such as affordability, crime safety, economy, education, healthcare, infrastructure, opportunity, and quality of life. This video takes a deep dive into the comparison of all 50 states in America, ranking them from the least favorable to the best based on the aforementioned criteria. It's a comprehensive guide to help you make informed decisions about where to live for the best overall lifestyle in United States. Starting from worst to best. Number 50. Louisiana, the Pelican State. Louisiana, with a population of 4.6 million people, unfortunately holds the title of the worst state to live in the United States. While the state does have some positive aspects, such as a low cost of living and abundant sunlight, it falls short in various other areas. One significant concern is the high rate of violent crime in Louisiana. In 2020, the state reported 640 incidents per 100,000 people, ranking it as the 5th highest among all states. Another drawback is the relatively low income levels, with most households earning around $52,000 or less annually. This is notably lower than the national average, where most households bring in over $69,000 each year. The economic disparity extends to gender pay gaps, especially affecting women in Louisiana. They earn only about 73% of what their male counterparts make, marking the state with the second worst gender pay gap in the country. Additionally, a significant portion of Louisiana's population faces financial challenges, as approximately 1 in 5 residents live below the poverty line, the highest proportion compared to any other state. Number 49. Mississippi, the Magnolia State. Mississippi, with a population of over 2.9 million people, unfortunately shares a spot among the worst states to live in, much like its neighbor Louisiana. One alarming aspect is the state's average life expectancy at birth, which stands at just 73.9 years, the lowest among all states. This suggests that many Mississippi residents may face challenges in accessing adequate health care. Adding to the concern, Mississippi also has one of the lowest rates of health insurance coverage in the entire country. The economic landscape in Mississippi paints a challenging picture. Lower-income individuals often struggle to afford health care and maintain healthy lifestyles, and in Mississippi, the typical household earns just $48,716 annually, the lowest income level among all states. Other economic indicators in the state are also concerning, with a monthly jobless rate of 3.8%, higher than in most states. Moreover, Mississippi faces difficulties in building a college-educated workforce, attracting relatively few new residents with college degrees. In 2021, only 0.7% of all adults in the state who held a bachelor's degree chose to move there, marking one of the smallest such percentages in the country. Number 48. Arkansas, the natural state. Arkansas, home to over 3 million people, unfortunately holds the position as the 3rd worst state to live in, largely due to widespread financial challenges. The average household income in the state is just $52,528 per year, and a significant 16.3% of the population lives below the poverty line. In comparison, the national median household income is $69,717, with a poverty rate of 12.8%. Adding to the difficulties, Arkansas faces limitations in public amenities, such as parks and recreation centers. Only about 56% of the population has easy access to places for physical activity, a figure well below the national average of 80%. The combination of financial struggles and limited options for exercise likely contributes to the state's low average life expectancy at birth, which is 75.5 years, the 7th lowest among all states. Number 47. New Mexico, the land of enchantment. New Mexico, with a population of 2.1 million people, unfortunately finds itself among the 5 worst states to live in, and a major factor contributing to this ranking is the high crime rates. In 2020, the FBI reported 778 violent crimes, including robbery and homicide, for every 100,000 people in the state. They have second highest violent crime rate in the entire country. Property crime, including burglary and vehicle theft, is also a prevalent issue, with the state's rate of 2,842 incidents per 100,000 people ranking as the 2nd highest among all 50 states. Financial struggles add to the challenges faced by New Mexico residents, with an 18.4% poverty rate that stands as the third highest in the nation. This high poverty rate is, in part, a result of a weak job market. As of August 2022, 4.4% of the state's labor force was unemployed, surpassing rates in the majority of other states and well above the national jobless rate of 3.8%. Number 46. West Virginia, the Mountain State. West Virginia, home to over 1.7 million people, unfortunately grapples with economic challenges that position it among the poorest states in the United States. The median household income is just $51,248, with a significant 16.8% of the population living below the poverty line. To put this in perspective, the average household income nationwide is $69,717, and the poverty rate for the entire U.S. population is 12.8%. The state's economic struggles can be partly attributed to a lack of job opportunities. As of August 2022, 4.4% of West Virginia's labor force was unemployed, a rate higher than in most other states and well above the national jobless rate of 3.8%. Despite the benefit of a low cost of living, these economic conditions may deter college-educated individuals from considering West Virginia as a destination for relocation. In 2021, only 0.6% of all adults in the state with a bachelor's degree chose to move there, marking the smallest percentage in the entire country. Number 45. Oklahoma, the Sooner State. Oklahoma, with a population of over 4 million people, unfortunately holds the position as the 6th worst state to live in the USA and the 5th worst in the South. A significant factor contributing to this low ranking is the poor air quality, particularly due to the high concentration of PM 2.5. This inhalable particulate matter, when experienced over the long term, can lead to reduced lung function and an increased risk of mortality from lung cancer and heart disease. Oklahoma records an average of 40.2 micrograms of IA 2.5 per cubic meter of air daily, the 6th highest concentration among all states. Moreover, Oklahoma seems to lack investment in public amenities that enhance overall quality of life. Only about 65% of the population has easy access to places for physical activity, such as parks and recreation centers, a figure significantly below the national average of 80%. Additionally, the state struggles with funding for its public school system, ranking among the worst funded in the country. Per pupil spending across Oklahoma school districts amounts to just $9,144 annually, nearly the lowest of any state. Number 44. Tennessee, the Volunteer State. Tennessee, home to 3 million people, unfortunately faces challenges in the quality of life due to elevated crime rates in many areas. According to the FBI, the state recorded 673 violent crimes including murder, aggravated assault, and robbery for every 100,000 people in 2020, marking the 3rd highest violent crime rate among all states. Additionally, Tennessee's property crime rate, encompassing offenses like burglary and motor vehicle theft, ranks as the 10th highest in the country. Despite residents enjoying a cost of living below the national average, Tennessee grapples with below-average incomes. The median household income stands at $59,695, making Tennessee one of only 10 states where the majority of households earn less than $60,000 annually. Number 43. Alabama, the Yellowhammer State. Alabama, boasting a population of over 5 million people, faces challenges that impact the desirability of living in the state. The median home value, a significant indicator of an area's attractiveness, is relatively low at just $172,800. This makes Alabama one of only 13 states where most homes are valued at less than $200,000, signaling potential financial constraints for many residents. Financial hardship is indeed a reality for a substantial portion of Alabama's population. The state's poverty rate stands at 16.1%, surpassing the national average of 12.8%. Particularly concerning is the gender pay gap, with women earning 75 cents for every dollar earned by men, making Alabama one of the states with the worst gender pay gaps. Examining broader population health, average life expectancy becomes a crucial indicator, reflecting access to healthcare, nutrition, and other factors supporting a healthy lifestyle. In Alabama, the average life expectancy at birth is just 74.8 years, ranking as the 3rd lowest among all states. The state also grapples with a higher than average uninsured rate, and residents are less likely than most Americans to have easy access to places for physical exercise, such as parks and recreation centers. These factors collectively contribute to the overall quality of life challenges faced by residents in Alabama. Number 42. Kentucky, the Bluegrass State. Kentucky, home to over 4.5 million people, unfortunately finds itself among the 10 worst states to live in, and one contributing factor is poor air quality. The state has a higher concentration of microscopic particulate matter compared to many others, and prolonged exposure to such particles can lead to reduced lung function and an increased risk of mortality from lung cancer and heart disease. Although Kentucky residents enjoy a cost of living below the national average, incomes in the state are notably low. The typical household in Kentucky earns just $55,573 annually, ranking as the 7th lowest median income among all states. Adding to the challenges, Kentucky's poverty rate of 16.5% is the 5th highest in the country. These economic factors collectively contribute to Kentucky's ranking among the less favorable states to call home. Number 41. Ohio, the Buckeye State. Ohio, with over 11.7 million people, unfortunately holds the position as the worst state to live in within the Midwest and ranks 10th worst nationwide. Despite the overall cost of living being around 8% lower than the national average, low incomes contribute to significant financial challenges for some Ohio residents. The typical household in the state earns $62,262 per year, approximately $7,500 below the national median. Furthermore, Ohio's 13.4% poverty rate ranks as the 15th highest among all states. The state's economic struggles are, in part, a result of limited employment opportunities. As of August 2022, 4.3% of Ohio's labor force was unemployed, a rate exceeding that of most states and well above the 3.8% national jobless rate. These economic factors collectively contribute to Ohio's ranking among the least desirable states to call home. Number 40. Missouri, the Show Me State. Missouri, home to over 6.2 million people, unfortunately earns the 11th spot among the worst states to live in the United States and the 2nd worst in the Midwest. The primary reason for this ranking is the high crime rates prevalent in the state. According to the FBI, there were 553 violent crimes, including robbery and homicide, reported for every 100,000 people in Missouri in 2020. This marks the 6th highest violent crime rate in the entire country. Property crime, encompassing offenses like burglary and vehicle theft, is also relatively common, with the state ranking 9th highest in this category, recording 2,531 incidents per 100,000 people. Examining health indicators for the broader population, average life expectancy becomes a crucial measure, shedding light on potential deficiencies in access to healthcare, food, and other services supporting a healthy lifestyle. In Missouri, the average life expectancy at birth is just 76.6 years, ranking as the 12th lowest among all states. The state also grapples with a higher than average uninsured rate, and residents are less likely than most Americans to have easy access to places for physical exercise, such as parks and recreation centers. These factors collectively contribute to Missouri's ranking among the less favorable states to call home. Number 39. New York, the Empire State. New York, home to over 19.8 million people, stands as the sole state in the Northeast to be among the 15 worst states to live in. While the state boasts higher than average incomes and life expectancy, it grapples with the worst income inequality in the entire country. Additionally, New York is considered one of the least affordable states to live in. Median housing costs, factoring in both renters and homeowners, consume 18.9% of the income earned by the typical household. This figure ranks as the 9th highest percentage among all states, and the overall cost of living in New York is over 10% higher than the national average. The state's job market also faces challenges, with a relatively high unemployment rate of 4.9% in August 2022. This rate is the 2nd highest in the country, significantly surpassing the national rate of 3.8%. Moreover, when considering only the movement of people in and out of the state, New York experienced a population decline of 1.9% from 2020 to 2021, marking the largest drop in the entire country. These factors collectively contribute to New York's ranking among the less desirable states to call home. Number 38. North Carolina, The Tar Heel State. North Carolina, with a population of 10.5 million people, faces challenges impacting its overall quality of life. Unfortunately, only 67.6% of the population in the state has easy access to places for exercise, such as parks or recreation centers. This figure falls significantly below the national average of 79.8%, highlighting a potential area for improvement in enhancing residents' well-being. Additionally, North Carolina allocates notably less funding to its school system compared to the national average. The spending at public schools in the state amounts to just $9,747 per pupil annually, ranking as the 9th lowest among all states. When it comes to crime, North Carolina grapples with higher than average rates in both violent and property crime. Particularly concerning is the burglary rate, with nearly 50,000 reported cases in 2020, translating to 471 incidents for every 100,000 people. This figure ranks as the 7th highest among all 50 states, indicating a need for attention to security measures in the state. These factors collectively contribute to the challenges faced by residents in North Carolina. Number 37. Texas. The Lone Star State. Texas, home to 29.5 million people, grapples with certain challenges affecting the well-being of its residents. The state faces a higher monthly unemployment rate compared to many other parts of the country. As of August 2022, 4.2% of the labor force in Texas was unemployed, surpassing the national jobless rate of 3.8% and ranking as the 12th highest among all states. Violent crime, particularly robbery, is more prevalent in Texas than in a majority of states. The overall violent crime rate in the state stands at 446 incidents per 100,000 people, ranking as the 15th highest in the country. Specifically, the robbery rate, a component of the violent crime rate, is 91 incidents per 100,000 people, making Texas the 6th highest in this category. Moreover, Texas falls below the national average in its investment in the school system. Per pupil spending at public schools in Texas totals just $9,697, marking the 8th lowest among all states. These factors collectively contribute to the challenges faced by residents in Texas, highlighting areas that may benefit from attention and improvement. Number 36. Illinois. The Prairie State. Illinois, with a population of 12.6 million people, is experiencing a notable outmigration, with more people leaving the state than moving in. This trend has led to one of the largest populations declines due to migration, with a 1.1% decrease from 2020 to 2021. In fact, this decline is the second largest in the country, surpassed only by New York. Several factors contribute to this population decline. Notably, residents in Illinois allocate a larger portion of their income to housing, including taxes, compared to residents in most states. Additionally, the state grapples with the 3rd highest monthly unemployment rate among states, reaching 4.8% as of August 2022, a full percentage point higher than the national rate. Social factors, such as high crime rates, further impact the quality of life in Illinois. The state ranks 8th in homicide rate and 4th in robbery rate, emphasizing the challenges residents face. These factors collectively contribute to the observed migration patterns and population decline in Illinois. Number 35. South Carolina. The Palmetto State. South Carolina, home to over 5.1 million people, faces a significant challenge with crime, more so than many other states. In 2020, according to the FBI, the state reported 531 violent crimes, including robbery and homicide, for every 100,000 people. This marks the 7th highest violent crime rate in the entire country. Additionally, property crime, which includes offenses like burglary and vehicle theft, is relatively common, with South Carolina ranking 5th highest, with a rate of 2,721 incidents per 100,000 people among all 50 states. Crime tends to be more prevalent in areas with lower socioeconomic conditions, and South Carolina's poverty rate stands at 14.6%, ranking among the top 10 highest of all states. Both crime and poverty are associated with lower life expectancy, and in South Carolina, the average life expectancy at birth is just 76.4 years, approximately 2 years below the national average. These interconnected factors contribute to the challenges faced by residents in South Carolina, highlighting areas that may benefit from attention and improvement. Number 34. Michigan, the Great Lakes State. Michigan, home to over 10 million people, unfortunately faces a higher incidence of criminal violence compared to many other states. In 2020, the state reported over 47,600 violent crimes, translating to 478 incidents per 100,000 people. This marks the 10th highest violent crime rate among all states. Michigan also falls behind in several key indicators, with slightly higher than average unemployment and poverty rates. Additionally, the state's median household income stands at $63,498, approximately $6,000 less than the national median. Property values serve as a gauge of a place's desirability, and Michigan's median home value of $199,100 places it among only 13 states where most homes are worth less than $200,000. These factors collectively contribute to the challenges faced by residents in Michigan, highlighting areas that may benefit from attention and improvement. Number 33. Nevada. The Silver State. Nevada, home to 3.1 million people, holds the 18th spot among the worst states to live in nationwide, though it ranks as the second worst in the West. A significant factor contributing to this ranking is the state's job market, with Nevada recording the highest unemployment rate in August 2022 at 5.2%, surpassing rates in all other states. Additionally, Nevada's housing market is less affordable than the national average, with median housing costs accounting for 18.1% of the income earned by the typical household, compared to the national ratio of 17.4%. The state's relatively high violent crime rate further impacts the overall quality of life. In 2020, over 14,400 violent crimes were reported, translating to 460 incidents per 100,000 people, marking the 12th highest violent crime rate among all states. Nevada also grapples with relatively poor air quality characterized by a higher concentration of microscopic particulate matter. Prolonged exposure to such particles can reduce lung function and increase the risk of mortality from lung cancer and heart disease. These factors collectively contribute to the challenges faced by residents in Nevada, highlighting areas that may benefit from attention and improvement. Number 32. Pennsylvania, the Keystone State. Pennsylvania, with a population of over 13 million people, unfortunately falls among the 20 worst states to live in, with environmental factors playing a significant role. The state receives less sunlight than all other states, this impacting the overall living conditions. Moreover, air quality, measured by the concentration of microscopic particulate matter with potential health risks, is worse in Pennsylvania than in all but 7 other states. In addition to environmental challenges, key economic conditions in Pennsylvania are below average. The state grapples with the 3rd highest unemployment rate in the country, reaching 4.8% as of August 2022. This rate is a full percentage point higher than the national average, indicating economic challenges that residents face. These factors collectively contribute to Pennsylvania's ranking among the less desirable states to call home. Number 31. Georgia, the Peach State. Georgia, home to 10.8 million people, falls in the lower half among the 50 states when considering several important factors for quality of life. Notably, only 69.8% of the state's population has easy access to places for physical exercise, such as parks or recreation centers. This figure is smaller than in most states and notably below the national average of 79.8%. Furthermore, residents in Georgia are more likely than the majority of Americans to face significant financial challenges. The state's poverty rate stands at 14.0%, ranking as the 12th highest in the country and exceeding the national poverty rate of 12.8%. These factors collectively contribute to Georgia's position in the lower rankings as a place to live, indicating areas that may benefit from attention and improvement. Number 30. Indiana, the Hoosier State. Indiana, home to 6.8 million people, falls in the middle range among the 50 states when it comes to quality of life, offering both advantages and challenges. One notable advantage is the low cost of living, with goods and services being about 7.5% less expensive than the national average. Housing, in particular, stands out as affordable, with median housing costs, considering both renters and homeowners, making up just 15.2% of the income earned by the typical household. This compares favorably to the national ratio of 17.4%. However, Indiana faces some environmental challenges, with worse air quality and less sunlight than many other states. Additionally, the state allocates less funding to its school system compared to the national average. spending at Indiana public schools amounts to just $10,137 per pupil annually, ranking as the 12th lowest among all states. These factors collectively position Indiana as a place with both strengths and areas that may benefit from attention and improvement. Number 29. California, the Golden State. California, with a whopping 39.2 million people, faces significant challenges as well as notable advantages. One of the standout challenges is the state's housing market, which is the least affordable in the entire country. Median housing costs, encompassing both renters and homeowners, make up 21.0% of the income earned by the typical household. This starkly contrasts with the national average housing cost to income ratio of 17.4%. The lack of affordable housing might be a contributing factor to the state's population decline, with a 1.1% decrease from 2020 to 2021, marking the third largest decline nationally, trailing only New York and Illinois. California also contends with higher unemployment and crime rates compared to most other states. On the flip side, California residents enjoy well-funded public amenities and services. Close to 93% of the state's population has access to places for physical exercise, such as parks or recreation centers. This figure is the largest share among all states and significantly surpasses the national average of 79.8%. Furthermore, California invests generously in its public school system, spending an average of $13,679 per pupil annually, exceeding the spending in most other states. These factors collectively paint a complex picture of California, with both challenges and strengths that shape the living experience for its residents. Number 28. Kansas, the Sunflower State. Kansas, with a population of over 2.9 million, holds a middle ground position among all states in terms of overall quality of life. While incomes in Kansas are slightly below the national average, with a median household income of $64,124 annually, about $5,600 less than the national median, the state offers a relatively low cost of living. Goods and services in Kansas are approximately 7.6% less expensive than the national average. The socioeconomic landscape in Kansas is a mix of positive and challenging aspects. On the positive side, the state boasts a robust job market, evident in its August 2022 unemployment rate of only 3.1%, which is notably lower than the national jobless rate of 3.8%. However, the state faces challenges in terms of property and violent crime rates, both of which are slightly higher than the national average. These factors collectively position Kansas as a state with both strengths and areas that may benefit from attention and improvement. Number 27. South Dakota, Mount Rushmore State. South Dakota, home to 8.9 million people, stands out as one of the more affordable states to reside in. Goods and services in the state are approximately 8.5% less expensive on average than the national average. Notably, housing in South Dakota is particularly affordable in relation to income, with median housing costs for both renters and homeowners making up just 16.4% of the income earned by the typical household. This compares favorably to the nationwide average housing cost to income ratio of 17.4%. Despite the affordability, there are notable drawbacks impacting the overall quality of life in South Dakota. The state faces challenges with a violent crime rate of 501 incidents per 100,000 people, ranking as the 8th highest in the country. Additionally, only 66% of the state's population has close proximity to places for physical exercise, such as parks, in contrast to the national average of 79.8%. These factors collectively present a nuanced picture of South Dakota, with both affordability and challenges influencing the living experience for its residents. Number 26. North Dakota, the Peace Garden State. North Dakota, home to 7.7 million people, finds itself in a similar position to its neighbor South Dakota, ranking around the middle among all states in terms of overall quality of life. Residents in North Dakota enjoy the benefits of a robust job market, sporting an impressively low August 2022 unemployment rate of just 2.2%, which is among the lowest in the country and significantly below the 3.8% national rate. Although the state's median household income of $66,500 falls about $3,000 below the national median, North Dakota experiences lower poverty rates compared to most other states. The state's poverty rate of 11.1% is notably lower than the 12.8% national poverty rate. However, North Dakota is not without its challenges. The state receives less sunlight than many other parts of the country, and only 64.4% of the population has close proximity to places for physical exercise, such as parks or recreation centers. This figure is lower than the national average of 79.8%. These factors present a balanced view of North Dakota, with strengths in employment and lower poverty rates, but also challenges in terms of sunlight exposure and access to exercise facilities. Number 25. Alaska, the last frontier state. Alaska, with a population of 7.3 million people, presents a mixed picture for its residents. While the typical household in the state boasts a relatively high income of $77,845, surpassing that of most states, the cost of living, especially in terms of housing, is also higher than the national average. Median housing costs encompassing both renters and homeowners make up 17.8% of the income earned by the typical household, slightly exceeding the national ratio of 17.4%. Despite this, Alaskans enjoy the advantage of a robust job market, reflected in an unemployment rate of just 3.5%, which is below the national average of 3.8%. However, a notable drawback to the overall quality of life in Alaska is the prevalence of violent crime. In 2020, the state recorded 838 violent crimes per 100,000 people, the highest among all states and more than double the national rate of 399 violent crimes per 100,000 people. This significant factor adds complexity to the living experience in Alaska, with both economic advantages and safety concerns shaping the overall quality of life for its residents. Number 24. Oregon, the Beaver State. Oregon, with a population of 4.2 million people, holds a middle ground among all states when it comes to overall quality of life. The state boasts a median household income of $71,562, surpassing that of most states. However, the cost of living, particularly in terms of housing, is also higher than the national average. Median housing costs, encompassing both renters and homeowners, make up 19.1% of the income earned by the typical household, ranking as the 7th highest among states and exceeding the national ratio of 17.4%. Adding to the economic mix, Oregon faces a relatively weak job market, reflected in an August 2022 jobless rate of 4.3%, which is the 8th highest among states. In terms of safety, Oregon experiences fewer violent crimes like homicide and aggravated assault compared to the national average. However, the same cannot be said for property crimes such as burglary and motor vehicle theft. The state's property crime rate stands at 2,659 incidents per 100,000 people, higher than in all but 6 other states. These factors collectively provide a nuanced view of Oregon, with a higher income offset by a relatively high cost of living and safety considerations. Number 23. Wisconsin, the Badger State. Wisconsin, with a population of 5.9 million people, positions itself close to the middle among all states in terms of overall quality of life. Despite receiving less sunlight on average, the state compensates with some of the cleanest air in the United States. It maintains a lower concentration of microscopic particulate matter compared to many other states, a factor linked to better respiratory health and reduced risks of lung cancer and heart disease with prolonged exposure. Examining the housing landscape, home values can reflect a place's appeal, and in Wisconsin, the typical home holds a value of $230,700, which is $50,700 less than the typical American home nationwide. Even with this difference, Wisconsin stands out for having lower income inequality, a valuable contrast at a time when such disparities are rising across the United States. Additionally, the state's August 2022 jobless rate of 3.3% is half a percentage point lower than the national rate, indicating a relatively stable employment environment. These factors collectively shape Wisconsin as a state with a balanced mix of environmental benefits, housing affordability, and economic stability. Number 22. Arizona, the Grand Canyon State. Arizona, with a population of 7.2 million people, stands out as one of the nation's fastest-growing states. From 2020 to 2021, the state witnessed a remarkable 1.7% increase in population, driven primarily by migration rather than natural growth births minus deaths. This surge in newcomers could be attributed to the allure of Arizona's warm climate and abundant sunlight, surpassing that of every other state. Affordability may also play a role, as although home values are higher than the national average, residents dedicate a smaller than typical portion of their income to housing annually. However, Arizona does face some notable challenges. The state's jobless rate in August, for instance, sits at 4.2%, surpassing the 3.8% national rate. Additionally, Arizona grapples with higher rates of criminal violence compared to much of the country. With 485 reported violent crimes per 100,000 people in 2020, the state ranks among the top 10 nationwide for violent crime rates. Despite its drawbacks, Arizona's growth suggests that many find the state's climate and affordability compelling, even as it contends with economic and safety concerns. Number 21. Iowa, the Hawkeye State. Iowa, home to a population of 3.1 million people, secures its position as the 21st best state to live in across the nation and the third best in the Midwest. While incomes in the state generally trend lower than the national average, the cost of living, particularly in housing, follows suit. Median housing costs, encompassing both renters and homeowners, only consume 15.9% of the income earned by the typical household, a figure below the national ratio of 17.4%. Iowa's robust job market, boasting a mere 2.9% unemployment rate as of August 2022, contributes to the state's appeal. Despite these strengths, Iowa falls behind in certain key measures compared to the rest of the country. The state allocates less funding to its school system than the national average, with an annual spending of just $11,271 per pupil, ranking 20th lowest among all states. Additionally, only 72.7% of Iowa's population enjoys easy access to places for exercise, such as parks and recreation centers, a percentage lower than the national average of 79.8%. While Iowa may excel in some aspects, there are areas where it could enhance its offerings to further elevate the quality of life for its residents. Number 20. Montana, the Treasure State. Montana, home to a population of 1.1 million people, stands out in key indicators of quality of life, placing it in the upper echelons among the 50 states. Despite receiving less average sunlight than most states, Montana boasts some of the cleanest air in the United States, featuring a lower concentration of microscopic particulate matter. This cleanliness is significant for long-term health, as exposure to such particles is linked to a reduced lung function and an increased risk of mortality from lung cancer and heart disease. Montana also demonstrates strength in various economic measures. While the state's median household income of $63,249 falls approximately $6,500 below the national median, its poverty rate of 11.9% is nearly a full percentage point lower than the national poverty rate of 12.8%. Moreover, Montana's job market exhibits resilience, with an August unemployment rate of only 2.6%, surpassing the 3.8% national rate. In essence, Montana shines not only in environmental aspects but also in economic factors, creating a favorable living environment for its residents. Number 19. Washington, the Evergreen State. Washington, home to a population of 7.7 million people, presents a picture of prosperity and environmental well-being. Reflecting its desirability, the typical home in the state boasts an impressive value of $485,700, surpassed by only two other states. Incomes in Washington also soar above the national median, with the typical household earning $84,247 annually, approximately $14,500 more than the national average. Beyond economic prosperity, Washington embraces a breath of fresh air, quite literally. The state boasts some of the cleanest air in the country, marked by low concentrations of harmful microscopic particulate matter. This commitment to air quality aligns with broader health outcomes, contributing to an average life expectancy at birth of 80.2 years, the fifth highest among all states. In essence, Washington offers a harmonious blend of economic success and a commitment to environmental well-being, creating a favorable living environment for its residents. Number 18. Florida, the Sunshine State. Florida, home to a thriving population of 21.78 million people, stands out as a favorable state for overall quality of life, especially in the southern region of the United States. Blessed with a warm climate and abundant sunshine ranking among the highest in the nation, Florida's appeal extends beyond its geographical charm. The state's robust job market contributes significantly to its allure, boasting an impressive unemployment rate of just 2.8% as of August 2022, a full percentage point below the national average. Florida's popularity is further emphasized by its population growth, experiencing a notable 1.4% increase from 2020 to 2021, marking the sixth largest surge among all states. However, amidst its many strengths, Florida grapples with a less affordable housing market. While the state exhibits a median household income lower than the national average, its median home value is comparatively higher. Median housing costs, inclusive of both renters and homeowners, constitute 18.4% of the typical household's income, surpassing the 17.4% national ratio. Despite this challenge, Florida's overall appeal and positive attributes continue to make it a desirable place to call home. Number 17. Nebraska, the Cornhusker State. Nebraska, home to over 2 million residents, proudly secures the second best spot for quality of life in the Midwest, surpassed only by Minnesota. The state boasts refreshing, clean air characterized by low concentrations of harmful particulate matter. Affordable living is a hallmark of Nebraska, where residents dedicate a smaller than average portion of their income to housing. Overall, goods and services in the state are approximately 7% less expensive than the national average. Adding to its appeal, Nebraska maintains a robust job market, with a mere 2.2% of the labor force unemployed as of August 2022, well below the 3.8% national jobless rate during that period. This combination of clean living, affordability, and employment opportunities underscores Nebraska's standing as a commendable and desirable state for a high quality of life. Number 16. Delaware, the first state. Delaware, with a population exceeding 1 million residents, stands out as an attractive state, and its housing market reflects this desirability. The average home in Delaware holds a value of $300,500, surpassing the national average by about $19,000. Incomes in the state are also above the norm, and despite the elevated home values, housing remains more affordable than the national average. Median housing costs, encompassing both renters and homeowners, consume only 16.9% of the typical household's income, falling below the national ratio of 17.4%. Further contributing to Delaware's appeal is its commitment to education. The state prioritizes well-funded schools, with an annual per-pupil spending average of $15,910 at its public schools, ranking 11th highest among all states. This combination of attractive real estate, higher incomes, and a dedication to quality education solidifies Delaware's reputation as a desirable place to live. Number 15. Wyoming, the Equality State or the Cowboy State. Wyoming, boasting a population of 5.7 million people, presents a mixed but generally positive picture in terms of quality of life. While the average household income of $65,204 annually is slightly lower than the national average, the state demonstrates resilience against financial struggles. Wyoming's poverty rate stands at 11.4%, notably lower than the national rate of 12.8%, indicating a higher degree of economic stability. The state's robust job market further contributes to its appeal, boasting an unemployment rate of just 3.1% as of August 2022, below the national jobless rate of 3.8%. Wyoming's commitment to low unemployment enhances its reputation as a favorable place for employment opportunities. Moreover, Wyoming stands out for its lower crime rates compared to most states. In 2020, the state reported 234 violent crimes and 1,611 property crimes per 100,000 people, both figures falling well below the respective national rates of 399 and 1,958 per 100,000 people. This contributes to a safer living environment, reinforcing Wyoming's overall appeal. Number 14. Connecticut, the Constitution State. Connecticut, home to a population of 3.6 million people, stands out as one of the safest states in the nation. In 2020, it reported a mere 182 violent crimes per 100,000 people, less than half the national violent crime rate, and securing its place as the fourth lowest among all states. Moreover, Connecticut residents enjoy higher than average incomes, with the typical household earning $83,771 annually, a notable $14,000 above the national median. The state takes pride in its commitment to education, boasting one of the best-funded school systems in the country. The average per-pupil spending at Connecticut's public schools totals $20,271 each year, ranking as the second highest nationally. This dedication to education contributes to a thriving and attractive living environment. Number 13. Maryland, the Old Line State. Maryland, home to a population of 6.1 million people, stands out as one of the top 15 states to live in across the nation, and notably, it's considered the best state in the South. This distinction is largely attributed to its status as the wealthiest state in the country. With a median household income of $90,203, Maryland is unique as the only state where the majority of households earn over $90,000 per year. The allure of high-paying jobs is evident, attracting college-educated workers, with 1.8% of all adults with a bachelor's degree moving to the state in 2021, a notable figure compared to other states. Adding to its appeal, Maryland's school system is well-funded, ranking among the best in the country. The average per-pupil spending at the state's public schools is $15,149 annually, which is one of the highest figures among all states. This investment in education enhances the state's attractiveness as a desirable place for families to live. Number 12. Maine, the Pine Tree State. Maine, home to a population of 1.3 million residents, secures its position as the 12th best state to live in, largely owing to its distinction as the safest state in the country. With a remarkably low violent crime rate of 109 incidents per 100,000 people, Maine stands out, being a fraction of the national average of 399 per 100,000. While Maine's incomes may be slightly lower than the national average, the state exhibits a lower prevalence of serious financial hardship. The poverty rate stands at 11.5%, surpassing that of most states and falling below the national poverty rate of 12.8%. Furthermore, Maine boasts a relatively robust job market, boasting a mere 2.9% unemployment rate as of August 2022, nearly a full percentage point below the 3.8% national rate. This economic stability, combined with its unparalleled safety, contributes to making Maine an appealing and secure place to call home. Number 11. Rhode Island, the Ocean State. In Rhode Island, a state with a population of 1.1 million people, the typical household enjoys a comfortable income of $74,008 annually, surpassing the earnings of the typical American household by approximately $4,300. Furthermore, Rhode Island demonstrates economic stability, boasting a poverty rate of 11.4%, which is notably lower than the national average of 12.8%. Safety is another feather in Rhode Island's cap, with a commendable violent crime rate of 231 incidents per 100,000 people, ranking as the 7th lowest among all states. This enhances the overall security and well-being of its residents. Reflecting its desirability, the typical home in Rhode Island holds a value of $348,100, a substantial $66,700 higher than the average home value nationwide. This combination of economic prosperity, safety, and desirable housing contributes to Rhode Island's appeal as a residential haven. Number 10. New Jersey, the Garden State. In New Jersey, a state with a population of 9.2 million people, residents enjoy an enviable quality of life, earning a median household income of $89,296 annually. This figure is nearly $20,000 higher than the average American household income, showcasing the state's economic prosperity. Furthermore, only 10.2% of New Jersey's population falls below the poverty line, a notable improvement compared to the 12.8% national average. Safety is a priority in New Jersey, evident in its low rates of criminal violence. The state reported only 195 violent crimes per 100,000 people in 2020, ranking as the 5th lowest among all states. This impressive safety record contributes to the overall positive living experience for residents in the Garden State. Number 9. Minnesota, the North Star State. Minnesota, home to 5.7 million people, residents enjoy a high quality of life, earning a median household income approximately $8,000 more per year than the national average. This economic advantage is complemented by a cost of living below the national average, with housing in particular being notably affordable. Median housing costs, encompassing both renters and homeowners, make up only 16.8% of the typical household's income, a figure that falls below the 17.4% national average. Minnesota further distinguishes itself with a robust economy, boasting a low unemployment rate of 2.1% as of August 2022, the 3rd lowest among all states. This combination of a strong median income and a thriving job market results in a low poverty rate, with only 9.3% of Minnesota residents living below the poverty line, a marked improvement from the 12.8% national average. Overall, Minnesota stands out as the 9th best state to live in nationwide and the premier state in the Midwest. Number 8. Colorado, the Centennial State. Colorado is home to 5.8 million people. Residents experience a high quality of life, positioning the state among the top 10 nationwide. This achievement is primarily attributed to the robust economic conditions prevalent in Colorado. With most households earning over $82,000 annually, the state boasts a poverty rate of just 9.7%, the 4th lowest in the country. As of August 2022, the unemployment rate in Colorado stood at 3.3%, a figure well below the national jobless rate of 3.8%. The state's flourishing job market, coupled with the availability of high-paying employment opportunities, serves as a magnetic force for college-educated individuals. The census reports that 2.5% of all adults in Colorado with a bachelor's degree relocated there in 2021, marking the 3rd largest share among states. Overall, Colorado's economic prosperity contributes significantly to its standing as one of the nation's best states for overall quality of life. Number 7. Massachusetts, the Bay State. With a population of 6.9 million people, Massachusetts stands out as one of the wealthiest states in the United States. The typical household in the state commands an annual income of $89,645, ranking 2nd highest among all states and surpassing the national median household income by approximately $20,000. Aligned with the northeastern trend, Massachusetts demonstrates a commitment to education, allocating resources significantly above the national average to its public school system. The state's per-pupil spending reaches $17,787 annually, securing the 5th highest position among the 50 states. This dedication extends beyond education to public infrastructure and amenities, with nearly 90% of the state's population enjoying convenient access to places for physical exercise, such as parks and recreation centers, significantly higher than the national average of just under 80%. Massachusetts' robust investments contribute to its reputation as a state prioritizing both economic prosperity and the well-being of its residents. Number 6. Virginia, the Old Dominion State. With a population of 8.6 million people, Virginia claims the top spot as the best state to live in within the southern region and ranks as the 6th best state nationwide. The state's exceptional overall quality of life owes much to robust economic indicators. Virginia's median household income, standing at $80,963, which surpasses the national median by over $10,000, while its poverty rate of 10.3% is among the 10 lowest in the country. Furthermore, as of August 2022, Virginia maintains a low unemployment rate of 3.2%, well below the national jobless rate of 3.8%. The allure of high incomes and a thriving job market has made Virginia an attractive destination for college-educated workers. Census data indicates that in 2021, 1.8% of all adults with a bachelor's degree chose to move to Virginia, marking the 8th largest share among states. These factors collectively contribute to Virginia's reputation as a state offering economic prosperity and a high standard of living. Number 5. Utah, the Beehive State. With a population of 3.3 million people, Utah stands out for having one of the most robust job markets among all states. In August 2022, its impressively low unemployment rate of 2.1% ranked 3rd lowest nationally, significantly below the 3.8% average unemployment rate in the United States. Additionally, Utah boasts high incomes, with the typical household earning $79,449, approximately $10,000 more than the median household income across the entire country. These economic strengths contribute to Utah's appeal as a state with ample job opportunities and favorable financial conditions for its residents. Number 4. Idaho, the Gem State. With a population of 1.9 million people, Idaho claims the 4th spot as one of the best states to live in the entire country, and specifically, it's the 4th best state in the continental western United States. In 2021, Idaho experienced the largest population growth in the nation, a substantial 3.4%, primarily fueled by an influx of people relocating to the state. Reflecting the desirability of the area, the typical home in Idaho commands a value of $369,300, surpassing the national median home value by a significant margin of $87,900. Despite the relatively high home values, housing in Idaho maintains its affordability when considering household income. Median housing costs encompassing both renters and homeowners represent just 16.8% of the typical household's income, notably lower than the national ratio of 17.4%. On the economic front, goods and services in Idaho are about 9% less expensive than the national average, contributing to the overall affordability of living in the state. Furthermore, Idaho boasts a robust job market, as evident from its August 2022 unemployment rate of 2.7%, ranking 9th lowest among states and comfortably below the 3.8% national jobless rate. These factors collectively position Idaho as an attractive destination, offering a balanced mix of economic strength, housing affordability, and a welcoming environment. Number 3. Hawaii, the Aloha State. Hawaii has a population of 1.4 million people. Hawaii stands out as the third best state to live in the United States. It's a unique distinction, especially considering it's the only state outside the Northeast to secure a spot among the top 3. Hawaii's allure is multifaceted, marked by favorable social, environmental, and economic indicators. Blessed with a warm climate and pristine air quality featuring low concentrations of harmful particulate matter, Hawaii provides a welcoming environment. The state's income levels contribute significantly to its appeal, with the typical household boasting earnings of $84,857, a remarkable $15,000 more than the national average. This substantial income uplift plays a pivotal role in elevating the overall quality of life experienced by residents. Safety is another feather in Hawaii's cap, exemplified by its low crime rates. The state maintains a violent crime rate of 254 incidents per 100,000 people, securing the 10th spot for the lowest among states. This statistic stands in stark contrast to the national rate of 399 per 100,000, emphasizing the secure and serene living conditions that Hawaii offers to its residents. Number 2. Vermont, the Green Mountain State. Vermont is located at the northeastern corner of the United States with a population of 650,000 people. Vermont emerges as a beacon of exemplary qualities that enhance the well-being of its residents. Education takes center stage in Vermont, with the state outpacing others in investment. Allocating substantial resources, per pupil spending in Vermont's public schools reaches $16,359 annually, securing the 8th position nationally. This commitment to education lays a foundation for a well-informed and empowered populace. The economic landscape of Vermont mirrors prosperity, boasting the strongest job market in the entire country. As of August 2022, the state's unemployment rate stands impressively low at 2.0%, a noteworthy accomplishment when compared to the national rate of 3.8%. This employment stability contributes to a financially secure environment, with Vermonters being notably less likely to encounter serious financial hardships. The state's poverty rate of 10.3% secures the 10th lowest position among the 50 states, significantly below the 12.8% national average. Vermont's commitment to a high quality of life extends to ensuring safety for its residents. The state achieves this through maintaining a remarkably low violent crime rate of 173 incidents per 100,000 people, the third lowest nationwide. This statistic underscores Vermont's dedication to fostering an environment where individuals can live with peace of mind and security. Number 1. New Hampshire, the Granite State. New Hampshire is home to 1.4 million people, is considered the best place to live in the United States based on various economic and social factors. The state boasts a robust job market, with an impressively low unemployment rate of 2.3% at August 2022, well below the national rate of 3.8%. Household incomes are notably high, with most families earning over $88,400 annually. Additionally, New Hampshire stands out as one of the safest states in the country, experiencing a mere 146 incidents of violent crime per 100,000 people, making it the second lowest among states. Notably, New Hampshire is experiencing rapid growth, ranking among the fastest-growing states in the nation. From 2020 to 2021, considering only net migration and excluding natural growth, the state's population expanded by 1.2%, marking the 9th largest increase of any state during that period. Thanks for watching. This video is brought to you by Leeds Travels and Lifestyle channel. If you enjoy this video, click the like button, comment, and share with your friends. If this is your first time on this channel, click the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell for more valued content. See you in the next video. Happy travels and happy lifestyle.